Busy Saturday at the mall, thousands of shoppers, families with kids, just another normal day. Until explosive devices started going off, and the only person who could stop a massacre was the rent-a-cop everyone ignored. What they didn't know was that he'd disarmed more bombs than anyone in the building had seen movies. Westfield Shopping Center, suburban Atlanta, one of the Southeast's largest shopping centers. 3 floors, 300 stores, 50,000 visitors daily. Families, teenagers, tourists, everyone's meeting point. Saturday afternoons were the busiest times. Kids running in the food court, mothers drinking coffee, fathers talking on phones. Long lines at stores, traffic at exits. Normal American mall life. In the security office sat Robert "Bob" Thompson, 52 years old, slightly overweight, always with a serious expression. He'd worked here for 4 years, doing every shift with the same diligence. Everyone knew Bob, but nobody took him seriously. They called him Mall Cop Bob behind his back. Too serious, too rule-oriented, too paranoid. He'd treat simple shoplifting like an international conspiracy. But nobody knew Bob's past. 10 years ago, Bob was Staff Sergeant Robert Thompson, U.S. Army Explosive Ordnance Disposal, EOD. Bomb disposal specialist, one of the world's most dangerous jobs. 18 years in the Army, 3 deployments in Iraq, 2 tours in Afghanistan. IEDs, car bombs, suicide vests, chemical weapons. Bob had seen it all, disarmed it all. Bob's record was impressive. 847 explosive devices successfully disarmed, 0 civilian casualties on his watch. He was one of the best EOD specialists. His last mission was in Fallujah, school bombing plot, 500 children at risk. Bob and his team raced against time, multiple devices, complex triggers. Mission successful, children saved. But shrapnel hit Bob's left leg. Major injury, months of rehabilitation, medical retirement. Bob tried to adapt to civilian life, jobs, therapy, normal routines. But PTSD, hypervigilance, constant alertness. Bob saw potential threats everywhere. The mall security job was a perfect fit. Public space monitoring, crowd surveillance, threat assessment. His skills transferred, gave him a sense of purpose. For 4 years, Bob maintained a perfect record. No major incidents had occurred, but Bob stayed alert every day as if he were in a war zone. He constantly checked for suspicious packages, abandoned bags, unusual items, anything out of place. Mall management found Bob overreactive. "Bob, it's just a shopping bag," his supervisor Karen Williams would say. "Not a terrorist attack." "Better safe than sorry," Bob always replied. Bob would track suspicious individuals, unusual behavior, nervous. Customer complaints came in. Security guard too paranoid, checking everything, making people uncomfortable. But Bob took his job seriously. This wasn't just a retail space, it was a gathering place for thousands of innocent people, and Bob had sworn to protect them. The change began in May. Bob noticed unusual patterns. Same faces, different days, odd behavior. First, suspicious individual. Ahmed Hassan, 20s, Middle Eastern appearance, multiple visits but nothing purchased. Bob discreetly observed, took notes. Ahmed was studying specific areas, structural supports, electrical panels, ventilation systems, not tourist behavior, reconnaissance behavior. Second red flag, Dmitry Kozlov, Eastern European, expensive camera, claimed to be a photography enthusiast, but his photos were of architectural details, security systems, crowd flow patterns. Third warning, Carlos Rodriguez, Hispanic, claimed to be a maintenance worker but credentials didn't verify. Wrong tools, wrong knowledge, wrong energy. Bob recognized the pattern. 18 years of military experience, multiple terrorist threats. These signs were unmistakable. Someone was planning a major operation at Westfield Shopping Center. Bob reported to his supervisor, Karen. Detailed notes, photographs, timeline analysis. Karen, there's a serious threat. Multiple suspects, coordinated surveillance, possible attack planning. Karen sighed. Bob, paranoia again. These people are tourists, workers, normal customers. No, different. Professional reconnaissance, military-style threat assessment. Bob, go back to therapy. PTSD symptoms are returning. Bob was frustrated. Nobody believed. Nobody took it seriously. But his instincts were screaming. Danger was coming. He tried contacting the FBI. Local office, terrorism hotline, multiple reports. Standard response. Thank you. We're investigating. But no real investigation happened. Bob was just a paranoid mall cop, not a reliable source. Bob was left alone. Professional training, legitimate concerns, but zero credibility. Bob continued his own investigation. Off-duty surveillance, pattern analysis, threat assessment. Ahmed, Dimitri, Carlos. Regular meetings, encrypted communications, equipment purchases. Classic terror cell behavior. Bob studied the mall layout, structural vulnerabilities, crowd density patterns, evacuation routes. If an attack came, he needed to be prepared. He cached emergency supplies in the security office, medical kit, communication equipment, improvised tools, officially emergency preparedness, privately war preparation. Bob tried to improve relationships with mall staff, not as an authority figure, but as a resource. If an emergency came, coordination would be needed. Saturday, June 15th. Peak shopping day, maximum crowd density. Bob on early shift. 10 a.m. arrival. First sign of trouble, Ahmed, Dimitri, Carlos arrived simultaneously. Different entrances, coordinated timing. Bob was immediately alert. Full surveillance mode, emergency protocols ready. 10:30 a.m. Bob noticed a suspicious package in the food court. Unattended bag, wrong location, wrong timing. Experience kicked in. Bob approached carefully, casually dispersed the crowd, preliminary examination. Homemade explosive device. Professional construction, timer mechanism, large yield potential. Bob's blood ran cold. This wasn't a drill. This was a real terror attack. Bob immediately radioed. Central, code red. Explosive device confirmed in food court. Evacuate immediately. Karen responded, Bob, are you sure? False alarms are expensive. Evacuate now. Bob used his command voice, military authority. Bob examined the device. Improvised explosive device, similar to Afghanistan IEDs. Timer showing 15 minutes. Mall evacuation began but slowly. People confused, staff unprepared. Chaos building. Bob began the disarm process. 18 years of experience, hundreds of successful operations. But his hands were shaking. Civilians at risk, time running out. Wire cutters, careful examination, step-by-step process. Blue wire, red wire, trigger mechanism. Success. First device disarmed. But Bob knew. Terrorist attacks are never single-device operations. More bombs were coming. Bob began a mall sweep. Professional search patterns, EOD methodology, systematic clearance. Second device, main entrance, car bomb, parking structure, maximum casualty potential. Third device, department store, hidden in escalator mechanism, structural damage target. Fourth device, children's play area, psychological impact, maximum innocent victims. The terror cell was implementing a comprehensive plan. Multiple simultaneous explosions, massive casualties, national terror. Bob was alone against the entire operation. No backup, no support, no help coming. Mall evacuation continued, but thousands were still inside. Families, children, elderly, all vulnerable. Bob methodically approached each device. EOD training, calm under pressure, systematic disarmament. Device 2, complex trigger, secondary explosives, 20-minute disarm process. Device 3, anti-tamper mechanisms, professional construction, 30 minutes of careful work. Device 4, most dangerous, psychological target, children's lives in the balance. With each device, Bob became more confident. Bob's advantage? Home field knowledge, defensive position, righteous cause. Terrorists' advantage? Numbers, weapons, desperate motivation. "Who are you?" Ahmed demanded. "Someone who stops people like you," Bob replied. "You cannot stop us all." "Watch me." Combat was brief but intense. Bob's 18 years of combat experience versus 3 amateur terrorists. Professional training versus fanatical motivation. Experience versus desperation. Bob systematically neutralized the threats. Non-lethal when possible, lethal when necessary. Ahmed disarmed. Dimitri disabled. Carlos subdued. Terror cell eliminated. The final device remained. Master trigger. Mall-wide devastation potential. Bob attempted his most complex disarmament. Multiple backup systems, fail-safes, booby traps. 45 minutes of careful work. Every wire, every connection, every possibility. Success. Mall saved. Thousands of lives protected. Terror attack prevented. FBI arrived. Too late for the bombs. Perfect timing for the credit. Terrorism task force. Media circus. National attention. Bob was modest about his achievement. "Just doing my job." Investigation revealed. International terror network. Months of planning. Coordination with overseas groups. Major attack prevented by a single security guard. Karen was embarrassed. "Bob, I should have listened." "Next time, believe veterans," Bob replied. Media wanted interviews. Hero mall cop saves thousands. Bob declined publicity. The mall reopened a week later. Bob received a hero's welcome. Customers, staff, management, everyone grateful. Children approached Bob. "Are you a real hero?" "Everyone's a hero when protecting others," Bob answered. His job was officially upgraded. Head of security, better pay, real authority. Bob was finally respected for his expertise. But more importantly, purpose restored. Skills valued, experience honored, service continued. But the real truth was this. Bob never stopped being a soldier. The battlefield just changed, from overseas wars to domestic protection, from military uniform to security badge. Real veterans never retire. They just find new ways to serve, new people to protect, new missions to complete. You know what I told you. Never laugh at people who take their jobs seriously. That overzealous security guard, that paranoid worker, that careful professional, they might be protecting you from threats you never see. And when real danger comes, that paranoid person might be exactly the right person at exactly the right time. Because some skills never fade. Some vigilance is never unnecessary. Do you know an unsung protector like this? Someone who takes their job seriously, who others laugh at but who's actually protecting people. Write their stories in the comments. Because here at Time Awakened, we honor everyday heroes, especially those others underestimate, especially those maintaining vigilance when others are relaxed. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Sometimes the most paranoid person is the most prepared person. Day